Strategy 1, Lesson 1, how to be energetic and positive by using uplifting and optimistic speech. Welcome to the Charismatic Connector from All Ears English, the advanced English communication system that moves you from awkward to charismatic in English in less than 30 days using the charisma equation, where you'll leverage the same strategies that Fortune 500 CEOs use to make people understand you, like you, and connect with you at work. Now, let's get to today's lesson. Hey, Michelle, how you doing today?
I'm good, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Yeah, and we are here. I'm excited today to talk about the charisma equation.
Yes. It's very exciting.
Yeah, we're here to help our listeners be more charismatic and well-liked at work and in their lives. And the number one of the big pillars of charisma is being energetic and positive. I mean, it's a major U.S. value, right? This idea of looking on the bright side. But you know, we can't always be happy, right?
Right. I mean, this year, particularly, there are a lot of bad things happening around the world and here in the U.S., but I think it's the way you look at things overall.
Yeah, it's a general worldview.
Yeah.
And there's actually research to back this up, this idea that people in the U.S. tend to look at things in a more positive way. There was a really interesting study by the Pew Research Center that asked, how is your day going? It was one of the introductory questions for an interview that was studying other things. Okay. And Michelle, can you tell us what they found? I'm really interested to hear what they actually found out.
Yeah, okay, so the study that was really interesting found a negative correlation between saying it was a good day and per capita income.
Right. So that means that in general, the wealthier the country, the less they tend to agree that it's a good day. But the U.S. was kind of an exception to that rule, right? So according to the Pew Research study, it said that 41% of people in the U.S. said it's a particularly good day, compared with other wealthy countries like Germany, only 21% said that, the UK 27%, and Japan 8%. So that to me says that optimism is important. Being energetic and positive is a key piece of having people at least want to spend time around you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not about changing who we are, right? Right, Michelle, would you say?
I would say it's about how we see the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're not asking, to be charismatic in a new culture. The idea is not to change who we are at our core. It's more about kind of understanding how our American colleagues or our friends actually see the world here in the States. Understanding what's respected or what actually works in a culture. What works. And knowing how it's voiced in English. And that's what we're going to help our listeners with. And then we can decide, our listeners, our students can decide how and whether they want to use these phrases when it's appropriate.
Right. So that's why being energetic and positive is number one in the charisma equation.
Exactly. But guys, don't worry. We're not going to leave you there. You're probably asking, well, how are you going to do that? That's such a vague question. Be energetic and positive. So we're going to break it down for you very specifically, and we're going to show you exactly what words to use. So again, in our charisma equation, the first pillar is to be energetic and positive. Michelle, what are the 3 main skills that fall under that pillar?
Okay, so Lindsay, number 1 is to show optimism in your words, right? To use uplifting and optimistic speech.
Awesome. What's number 2?
Number 2 is talk about your passions and what you are excited about.
Ooh, I like that. How about number 3?
Number 3 is show your confidence in others.
Perfect, Michelle. So those are huge. And we're going to show you guys exactly how to do those things in the next few lessons so that by the time you get done with this first module, you're going to feel like you can strategically insert these comments into your speech patterns when and where you want to be more charismatic.
Yeah, and you can feel that way regardless of whether you feel it comes naturally. You can be strategic about it to be more well-liked and charismatic at work.
Awesome, Michelle. I love it. So let's get into it. Guys, in the next audio, we're going to show you exactly how to show optimism in your choice of words. You know, at your level, you have the ability to strategically select your words, and those words do make a difference in your success. So, Michelle, let's get into these phrases. So, what exactly are those words that we can use to show optimism? I mean, there are 4 of them, right?
Yeah, there are 4. So the first one is at least.
At least. I mean, I like that. I like using at least. We've talked about this on a few episodes, so we can go back and review the episodes, but we're going to show you guys in a more step-by-step fashion how you can make these part of your language. So here's an example. I'm feeling a little tired today, but at least it's Friday.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have another example?
Sure, yeah. So you could say, I don't have time to bake a dish for the potluck, but at least I can bring cookies and drinks.
And I like your tone of voice there. At least I can bring cookies and drinks.
Yeah.
So it really is showing that positive optimism, that perspective. You're always looking for the good part. I mean, no one wants to listen to a downer, right? So Debbie Downer, as we call these people.
Right. No, yeah. No one feels good around a Debbie Downer.
Exactly. So at least is one really strategic phrase that our listeners, our students that you guys can put into your phrases to sound more optimistic. And it'll probably make you feel more optimistic too. I love that. I love that. What's another one, Michelle, that we can use?
Sure. The next one is yet.
Yes. I mean, when and why would we use yet?
Right. So you would add it like at the end of the sentence, right? Something you haven't accomplished yet, but you want to.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the sentence, all right, so here's an example. I haven't traveled to every continent yet.
Right. Or I haven't gotten that promotion I'm going for yet.
Yet. Good. Very empowering. And again, when we hear ourselves say that, we understand that we're still moving towards that goal. Mm-hmm. So it's not all negative. We take a positive spin on things. I think you mentioned that in one episode, Michelle, to put a positive spin on things.
Right. So you can either, look at the glass half empty or half full, right? It's the same thing, right? But it's your choice. Are you going to be positive or not?
You got it. Exactly. And there are a couple of others that we want to share with our students here. 2 other phrases that they could go ahead and insert into their conversations to sound more optimistic. So here's another one. The good news is.
That's good.
Yeah. So what are we doing here when we use this phrase, Michelle?
It's like if you're having a negative conversation, right?
Yep.
So sometimes it could even be used as a joke, right? So,
yeah.
For example, our company is going to have to shut down because our investors have decided to pull out. And then you could say like, well the good news is we get to take home the coffee in the company pantry.
I love that. Well, the good news is we get to take home the coffee in the company pantry. That's funny, right? So this could be humorous, and we want to be careful here with timing, guys, because that kind of comment could come off as not caring or being kind of callous if you say it at the wrong time and at the wrong place, like in a meeting where the boss is revealing that the company is closing. But if you're joking around with your colleagues, guys, this is a great way to show your optimism, which again makes you more charismatic. People want to be around someone who's optimistic. So this is a good phrase to use. Let's have another example, Michelle.
Another example of the good news is?
Sure, you could say, in a more serious way.
More seriously, you could say, my hours got cut at work to 30 per week. Well, and you could, cheer me up by saying...
Well, the good news is, Michelle, now you have Fridays off.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to look on the bright side.
Exactly. So using the good news is, using at least, and using yet are 3 of the 4 phrases we could use. And the 4th one is saying it's just a little setback. Talking about setbacks. What's a setback, Michelle?
It's kind of when you're like pushed back a few steps, right? You're going, and then something knocks you down a step.
It can be frustrating, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so here we're empathizing with someone who has had a setback, but we're trying to take that positive spin by saying it's just a little setback, right? Those strategic words, just and little, show the person that you believe they can they can do it. It's just a small problem. It's gonna just a moment of not doing as well as they'd like, and they'll overcome it eventually, right?
Right. It's not forever.
Exactly. So what's an example, Michelle? Do you have a phrase for us?
Yeah, so I could, if I say like, we lost our biggest client.
Yeah, and I could say to you, "Oh, it's just a little setback. I mean, you have other clients, and I'm sure it'll be fine."
Thanks, Lindsay. You made me feel better.
I know. Therefore, I'm charismatic, and you want to be
right.
around me more
I want
often,
to be around
right?
you all the time.
See, guys, it's all about the words you choose.
That's right.
All right. So now, guys, we know the phrases that you can strategically insert into your conversations to show this sense of optimism in your words, which is a key pillar to this charisma equation. So let's zoom in a bit in the next audio and take a look at these phrases a little bit closer. So we'll see you in the next audio. See you, Michelle.
See you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we're back. Hey,
Yes.
Michelle, how you doing?
I'm still good. How are you?
You're still good. I'm glad to hear that. I am good too. So, Michelle, we've just talked about 4 phrases that our listeners can use to sound more optimistic. So let's now go ahead and see how these 4 phrases can be used in all kinds of different situations. Because it's not just about hearing them once, right, Michelle? I mean,
Right.
What do we need to do? We need to do what?
We need to practice. We need to practice using them. We need to listen again.
Listen again. Exactly. Listen again and again and again. Good. When the music starts, please stop the recording and repeat the phrases you just heard out loud or in your head. So what's the first phrase, Michelle?
Okay, so the first one was at least.
Good. So, Michelle, what's an example? Do you have one?
Sure, yeah. The weather is cold in New York City, but at least heat is included in my rent.
Excellent. Good. That's one example. And here's another example. We can't hire a marketing firm, but we can at least learn about internet marketing ourselves. Right?
Nice.
Sounding very natural, very charismatic. I like it. Okay, Michelle, next one was yet. Using yet. Give us an example.
Okay. I
Please.
haven't achieved my financial goals yet.
Good. And here's another example. I haven't quite settled into my new neighborhood yet.
Yeah, I like the way you ended that. I feel mine was a little darker. I think I should say, I haven't achieved my financial goals yet. Right? That sounds a little bit more cheerful. I think the first time I was too dark.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, tone of voice is huge. Tone of voice is huge. Absolutely. So that's very strategic. And the next phrase is the good news is, right?
Good news.
How could we use that, Michelle, in a sentence?
Okay, so the company holiday party was canceled, but the good news is we're going to have a lunch catered on Friday afternoon.
Good. Okay. And another example is the report needs some editing, but the good news is I got it done.
Nice. Good.
Always looking at the glass half full.
Yes.
That's important. And the last one, Michelle, is it's just a little setback. Do you have an example for us?
Yeah. Okay. I applied for the management.
Actually, this one is a conversation.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, I applied for the management position, but I didn't get the job.
Oh, don't worry. It's just a little setback.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Oh, you're feeling better, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling better.
All right, here we go. Here's another. We missed the deadline, and I don't think our clients are happy.
Oh, well, it's just a little setback. You'll turn it around with them, I'm sure.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so now that we've heard a bunch of ways that we can use these optimistic phrases, Michelle, let's go to the next step and let's start to use them in a real conversation, which is what we really want. We want to connect. That's what our listeners and our students want to do so that people like us more and we can build those connections. So let's go on to the next section. See you next time.
See you there.
All right, see you there. Bye. Hey, Michelle, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good, Lindsay. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. I'm excited to dive into a little conversation here. And let's talk about what's going on in this conversation before we dive in. What is actually happening in this conversation that we're going to hear?
Okay, so we are two colleagues and we are at work talking about why we aren't reaching our goals for the year.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we're going to show our listeners how to use these words and phrases, how to insert these strategic words and phrases, and we're going to practice doing that. So let's go for it, Michelle. Go ahead. Let's get started. When you hear the music, please fill in the blank with the correct word or phrase that you learned in step 2.
So are we on track for our goals this year?
Well, we're not quite there, but I know we'll get there. We have a few more things to take care of before the year ends.
Great. Let me know what I can do to help us get there.
Yeah, well, the thing that hurt us this year is that some of our partners decided not to collaborate with us, but they've agreed to get back on board for next year.
Glad to hear that. It sounds like it, but it looks like we'll bounce back from that quickly.
Yeah, it's been a challenging year, but we love what we do. Sometimes I feel like that's all that matters in the long run.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Now you'll hear the same conversation with the correct words and phrases being used. Please check your answers.
So are we on track for our goals this year?
Well, we're not quite there yet, but I know we'll get there. We have a few more things to take care of before the year ends.